must be timed. Yes, if you do not have the second quarter of year 2023. My name is Ayodeji Ajishokwe, presenting. Yes, this afternoon, like this program is called, it is called Political Updates. And we do the needful by keeping you informed. And what are the topical issues in Nigeria's political space today? And of course, most of the things that affect the political space is over now. We are moving away from politics to governance. We have elected our leaders. Some have been sworn in at the executive branch. Most of those who are in the legislative branch will also be inaugurated into office by the end of next week at the very most at the National Assembly level. The states are doing theirs now. So it is therefore important that we watch the processes that are ongoing. When the president was inaugurated into office, he said a few things. Notable are two. When he said fuel subsidy was over. Yes, the outgone administration did not make provision for subsidy on PMA specifically from the end of June till the rest of the year. But the president made a pronouncement that subsidy was over. Subsidy was not over in the books, but immediately the president made that pronouncement, the markets reacted. And of course, prices went out of control. And of course, the next thing the government did was, okay, since private people are reacting negatively, let's resolve that. And then said subsidy was over and done with. We are now in Ibadan, 500. Lagos, 480, 440 something. And other parts, 600, 620, whatever it is in their location. That is where we are today. He also talked about the issue of parity between the two foreign exchange windows that we maintain, which is the bureau de change and the official market, which is 460 something, and then the bureau de change that goes back and forth according to the forces of demand and supply, and I will have to add speculation. I have live here in the studio with me someone who has been quite frequent. In fact, we started this program together and has been very, very frequent. And even during the elections, he was here with us to review the processes. And post-election now, which is governance, we are moving into the governance processes. He is Mr. Badejoko Adesumbo. To call him commentator or analyst may not be adequate. I will simply call him what he is. He is a political scientist and student of governance. Mr. Badejoko Adesumbo, you're most welcome to our studio this afternoon. Yes.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I have online Mr. Diamond Oladeyide David. He is in transit somewhere, but he will be speaking with us too. He is I'll put it in quotes, a progressive. That is what they are called. And we want to be speaking from his knowledge of things. So, Mr. Badejoko Adesumbo, we take this call and hear the gentleman out there. Hello, sir. Hello, sir.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. We are going live now. Yes, I have live on with me on air Mr. Diamond Oladeyide David. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for joining the program, wherever you are speaking from today.
Thank you for having me on your program this afternoon.
Yes, I'll go straight to the point. The President Commander-in-Chief Bola Ahmed Tinubu announced two things when he came into office, when it was the day of his inauguration, in his inaugural speech. Two things: parity of the two foreign exchange windows, the official and the bureau de change windows. And he talked about end of subsidy on PMS, which has landed us from a range of 195 to 230 at 500 flat in Ibadan today. What are your thoughts on that? And what are the implications?
Yeah, thank you very much. I really appreciate you having me on your program this afternoon. Let me correct an impression. We all knew that the 2023 budget was not captured for the second quarter, for the last quarter, I mean, from January to June, it was captured that the subsidy will end in June. And it has been removed since last year, December, when the budget was signed into law. That is number one. It wasn't actually Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the president, that removed the subsidy, but the outgone president, the past president of Nigeria, former President Muhammad Buhari. That is number one. On the issue of parity on the two exchange rates we have, the parallel market and the official market, we all know that it is a scam. It is a scam because, there is always a round tripping. So in Nigeria will go to the CBN or to their bank, buy dollar at official rate and go to the black market and sell it at a very higher rate. And then once you have a parity, this fraud will stop. This is my thought on these two questions just asked.
Yes. Now, what are the consequences? Let us deal with the consequences, and then we'll I will call it possible consequences, probable consequences, and probable gains of the removal of subsidy on PMS. But before you talk about that, or maybe I should just leave that out, because that is always a long argument. Let's talk about the probable consequences of the removal. The pains.
I think we should look at it from these two angles. Yes, we might have the masses might have some kind of difficulties, the pains, but we should remember that there is no gain without pains. If you recall, if you look at it very well, you will discover that economically subsidy is not viable. It's not helping even the poor masses that they are protecting. It's not helping. And let me tell you, only 3% of the poor masses are enjoying this so-called subsidy. And don't forget, a lot of this money going to private pockets, pocketed by the rich men. Imagine people who does not even supply petroleum products will be claiming they supply petroleum products.
NNPC is the sole importer of PMS now. For years.
Yes, it's a sole importer of PMS. Are you telling me there is no scam, there is no corruption in NNPC?
And that was just a fact that I stated. I didn't express opinion.
We are talking about the consequences. Yeah, there must be pains at this moment. But in the long run, we won't enjoy it. We can't just be throwing away over 7 trillion every year on subsidy. In January alone, it was budgeted over 275 billion was budgeted for subsidy, and the total salary of the federal civil servant is about 321 billion naira.
Oga Diamond, what is the subsidy? Where is the subsidy? Where does it exist?
Subsidy is the difference between the actual cost of the product.
And
if you are talking about the land and the cost government is paying to make it cheaper, if you are talking at the international market, you have to capture different countries. In Britain, as of today, in Germany, as of today, it's being sold for 1,000 naira equivalent. In UK, it's being sold with about 1,100 equivalent. The same thing with America. In Canada, it's an naira equivalent. If you go to other countries, you know that we are giving out. We are wasting away a lot of money.
Okay, Diamond, I will state 2 points. Number one, do those countries do we in Nigeria have the social safety nets that those countries possess? Number two, sir. I will recall that when the prices of PMS, gasoline, went up last year in the United States as a reaction to the Ukraine-Russia war, America, the Joe Biden administration, provided subsidy. And the subsidy was in form of tax relief for the oil companies to make sure that they do not increase prices at the rate they ought to have increased it in reaction to those price movements. That was subsidy, but it was in tax relief. But the subsidy we do here, we share money. Why do we have to do it that way?
Can I just respond? If they subsidize in America, in UK, and in other developed countries of the world, they subsidize consumption, not something like petroleum products. How would we free money to subsidize other areas of our economy if we don't remove subsidy from petroleum?
I don't disagree with you on that.
We can't subsidize education. We can't take care of the students who do not pay their fees in the school if we don't remove this subsidy. That's number one. How do we handle our infrastructure development if not take away subsidy? How do we put together this commodity stuff that the Mr. President is talking about, that there will be a commodity storage whereby all farmers will be able to sell their product.
People don't trust government. People.
No.
Nigeria's situation, the deficit, everywhere in the world, people don't trust government. But Nigeria's case is even peculiar. No deficit of trust. Big, huge one.
But do you not think that we should go on with throwing money away, subsidizing Cameroon, subsidizing the Bank of Benin, subsidizing Niger, Chad, and the rest of West Africa, because people don't trust government? Do you know what 7 trillion can do to our economy? And then the issue is even we can't afford it.
What are the guarantees that this money that will be recovered, as it were, will be judiciously appropriated?
We all know the new president we have. It's a new sheriff in town. We have it. We all know his antecedents, his track record. It's a man that will say something and stand by it. And I can assure you, this subsidy removal and the free money will be used judiciously. We are discussing now with TUC, was with the government delegate yesterday. They were in that meeting for more than 3.5 hours.
Will corruption not fight back more viciously if you are going to be taking their free meal?
Fight back when you afford the corruption by the subsidy. Subsidy is a scam.
Okay, now it's a scam.
The poor masses.
The beneficiaries of that scam, will they not fight back?
In what way?
Oh,
how would they fight back?
We heard during the period of Buhari, when they started arresting people, we heard them, this sing-song of corruption was fighting back. And at the end of the day, Buhari told us that he has fought corruption to the extent to which the Nigerian system allowed him.
Do you know the step? You can fight corruption without always arresting people. So
I got you there.
You should look. What are the causes of corruption? Let me give an instance of corruption. You as a civil servant, you need to buy a car that worth about 3 million naira. You need to look for that 3 million naira in cash and take it to the dealer for you to get your car. But if the system is right, you don't need to carry 3 million naira to buy a car. There will be a system whereby you can give you the car, even new one, and you'll be paying over a period of time.
Now I got you very clearly. Okay, I got you. Creative governance. Governance.
Absolutely.
All right, I got you there. Creative governance, access to credit, and all of that. Yeah,
so
thank
when
you.
You have access to credit, it reduces corruption. It reduces your ability to try to cut corner. And then this will in return stop corruption. You don't need to fight corruption by always arresting people. There is a way you can do it. Tinubu fought corruption in Lagos as a governor.
Thank you.
He introduced Oracle. That can, on a regular basis, weed away the ghost worker then.
All right.
And then the NLC in Lagos State forced Tinubu to stand still because of that.
Yes.
And today, about 32% of Nigeria are using the same system.
All right.
It's better to.
We got to go now, sir.
All the revenue.
I appreciate you, sir. We have to go now. Mr. Diamond
Thank you very
Olade David has been my guest in the past 15, 20 minutes or thereabout. I really appreciate your contribution to the conversation today. God bless you and safe journey. Thank you very much.
Now midnight today, so you did receive one important call. Now so you just hear.
You have 1 minute remaining.
Sharp, you don't begin check your wallet. But to cash no come deal. How e for be if you go fit to recharge without cash and them still sama you bonus on top your recharge anytime? Your credit don nearly finish? No wahala. Just download my MTN NG app to recharge your MTN line. Abi make you dial star 904 hash to buy airtime straight from your bank account to Fiam any day, anytime, and enjoy 15% awoof bonus on top any amount wey you recharge. Na so e be o, very easy. MTN, wetin we dey do today? Now midnight today, so you did receive one important call. Now so you just hear.
Whenever I tell people I'm a full-time master student and a content creator, they go, huh? How are you able to do both all at once? You bewitch? No be juju. Na MTN 5G. Ever since 5G came into my life, I've been on cloud 9. I get to take my classes online in real time and upload my videos before you say Jack Robinson. Even Babe isn't left out. Our long distance is waxing strong.
Hello, babe. Can you hear me? Your video is frozen again.
We don't do that here, because life is a breeze.
Experience the wonders of MTN 5G. Hyper-fast internet connection with no buffering, zero lag, and quality data capabilities like never seen before. No bijuju, na MTN 5G. Now available on iPhone. MTN. What are we doing today?
We break down the facts of news, delivering the latest information, playing the coolest of music, giving you the best of entertainment. This is 93.9 FM. We are the solutions.
Come on.
We are the remedy.
Your number one remedy dial.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for staying with us. Solutions 93.9 FM is the station, and of course, Political Update is the show this Monday afternoon. Yes, you heard him. Mr. Badijo, thank you for your patience. You heard Mr. Diamond Olade David. You heard his position. Basically, we can even leave out the issue of parity of the foreign exchange windows. We can still leave that one alone. But the immediate one, it is out there on the street. People are battling with it. I see. I'm sure you have stories to you have stories to tell. Because I know where you live and I know where your office is. I see Nigerians now negotiating every inch of the way. I saw one woman waving 100 naira at one tricycle. Apparently, the tricycle was probably saying he would take 150. The woman was waving the 100 naira. What are the consequences? And look, government will eventually increase salaries. But the salaries of how many people will government increase? How many people work in government service? Ministries, departments, and agencies. These are very serious consequences. Let's now look at the long distance implications. How will things pan out?
Because people can actually understand the long distance solution. But the thing is, I am pro subsidy removal myself.
I have
always
opinion.
put conditions to it.
Okay.
And what are the conditions? One, we must have refining capacity before we dabble into it.
Do we have that? Let's answer them as we go.
We do now.
We do? Okay,
Because,
how do you mean? Dangote?
We have one Dangote refinery.
Does it belong to Nigeria?
Nigeria happens to own 20% stake.
That's not controlling shares?
It may not be controlling, but it's an influencing share is enough. If one group or individual is owning 20% and 80% is shared across board, we may not know.
So what will that 20% translate to in terms of PMS or the pumps?
It means whatever is the profit that will be declared, it translates to revenue.
Okay,
first
okay.
For the government.
Okay.
Now, to the pump, the fact that the cost of flight will be half the landing cost, and of course, the
cost of freight will be drastically reduced?
It will.
Okay.
It will, because it's going to be half cent in the whole equation.
There will be freight from Lagos to Ibadan.
Okay, that will not be freight.
What will it be?
Because it's not going to be shipped from Lagos to Ibadan. There's no
but it will still be freight.
There's no waterway that. So when you say haulage charges, that will be on logistics. And of course, logistics, we still have to deal with diesel and not petrol itself. Because that is what is affected. Now, one thing that I've said that Dangote would, one advantage is going to bring is that it's going to cut down the cost of diesel. I wouldn't know by what percentage, but by projection, it's likely to be more than 40%.
That's significant.
And that is significant.
The implications will be very significant to industry.
Exactly. And that is why I said it's a good thing that we have refined capacity. And by the end of the year, the NNPC had assured now.
Warri 1. Port Harcourt 1.
The Port Harcourt will join
260,000 barrels per day.
Dangote. And 260,000 barrels. And Dangote will be supplying about 300 and something
50,000.
No, I think half of it is what will be coming. Is going to be exporting as well as supplying local. He's in business. He can't just focus on Nigerian markets again, alone rather. So that is one condition at which I gave. The other condition is okay.
Fulfilled now, or almost fulfilled.
Yes. The other condition is where I expect the labor movement to really dispense energy on. Yes, you have taken subsidy from us because it's actually taken from Nigerians.
Yeah.
What do you give back in return to Nigerians? That is what the conditions that I also gave. That's okay.
What's your labor be asking?
Labor is speaking more to wage increase.
What should labor be asking? Let's leave what they are.
Labor should be asking for a list of what the government is giving back. Because they seem to be the one that is engaging the government, and they should be negotiating on behalf of all Nigerians, and not just for the interests of their members alone. Because if you want to go by percentage, those who constitute the labor force are about 30% of the working population. The larger majority are in the private sector and they are self-employed. So, who speak for those ones? Even those in the private sector are more than those in the government service. And those ones too, most of them are not allowed to join labor movement. They are not allowed to organize union within their respective organization. In the era of job insecurity, they are handicapped. Nobody negotiates on their behalf. And if you say, okay, minimum wage is going to be legislated upon, the current law, how many organizations obey it? We have so many private sector that pay less than 30,000 naira. And nobody is prosecuting anybody. Even we know up till now how many states is paying that 30,000 out of the 36 states that we have. Even those paying, how many of them are owing? Do they get it up as at when due? And those who are even enjoying the 30,000 and the lower scale, those are the lower cadre. Those are the upper cadre, have been shortchanged by ridiculous salary scales that would only add just a fraction of what they were earning before to what they are now to be earning. So these are areas where workers are not really enjoying, and that's why focus should be on what we go around.
What about social safety nets? I don't mean dispensing 5,000 naira. No.
We do not have the accurate data to really
That's the
work
bane
that
of our
out,
society.
to really work that out, and that is where I would not really be looking in that direction. I'm 100% against the issue of giving stipend 5,000 to whatever. It's waste of money. That can be channeled to haulage. You subsidize haulage. When you do that, you are already addressing logistics from the farm to the market, and that would cut the price of this food item. You can open the borders so that foreign goods can compete well, because locally made goods are now being exploitative in quotes, because you have a particular merchant, though the president has something in his agenda that will address that, but that is in the long run.
Let's talk about it.
That is the commodity board that is going to come up. You know, community board will buy all the stocks in front, redistribute at a recommended retail price, which will cut exploitation in the long run. It's something similar to the marketing board we had in the days of the region.
Babangida scrapped them as part of SAP.
So that, in a way, is what some of us have been agitating that we need to have because of the exploitation that the merchants, that's the middle belt,
the
middlemen. That's what they are, the ones responsible.
They replace
for
the marketing
fixing.
board.
Yes, and it's not. They are not doing good service to this nation. You begin to wonder, how can imported rice be cheaper than locally made rice? What is the rationale behind that?
Like the one in Imota in Ikorodu, like the lake rice, and all of those huge investments in rice production, will it not come to waste if borders are opened, as it were, to some of these imported things?
For now, in the immediate, I think that should be done, because these people had abused the privilege that the government had given to them by taking undue advantage of.
Are they the ones, or the so-called? You remember Lagos had to be selling direct the lake rice, and I remember they were selling
6,000 naira. Now, then you'll be imagining, and as at that time they were selling 6,000, a bag of rice was around 25,000 naira.
Multiplied by 3.
Look at that fraction. Look at the price difference. Imagine, it's damn too wide, and they cannot tell us that the government selling at 6,000 is actually selling at a loss. They would have also gained some things from
profit.
it.
They
So
invested.
that means some people are just feeding large on the populace. So all these things are where the government should really focus on. These are things that will go round. Everybody goes to the market, but not everybody earns salaries. Public transport should be made available.
How?
And
public transport. How?
Yes, mass transit. You have to put mass transit in place to compete with the private ones that, though in a place like Ibadan, we seem to be enjoying this competition. We have 4 options, so to speak, on the major routes. We have the buses, we have the micro cabs, we have the tricycles.
Those buses in Ibadan, they have specific routes they go.
There are routes that all of them
They
ply
go
together.
from probably Monlete.
I'm not talking about the Omituntun buses.
I'm talking about those buses, Toyota buses.
Yes, those
1978, 79, 80
Uh-huh.
buses.
Those ones ply major routes, and the same or these other vehicles too compete with them along that route. Motorbikes, tricycles.
And,
and
those small micro.
Yes, they give options to commuters. Okay, if buses will be cheaper, I'll go for bus. And if I'm in a hurry, I may take the tricycle or decide to take the motorbikes. So these options that people have in Ibadan, is giving us that negotiating power that you mentioned earlier. That people are now negotiating to the bearable minimum.
Yes.
You understand? I did that on my way down here. Even though I was rushing, I had to just
still negotiate.
I didn't have to allow myself to be exploited because of I know there are 2 routes to this place from my house. There's a cheaper route and there's the eyebrow one. So I decided to pass because I need to move faster. So I employed the faster means of mobility down here. But these are areas that the government should be looking at. These are things that will go round, not just by the time you increase salary has a tendency of adding to the inflationary figures.
And it will add to the burden of even those who are earning the increased salary and the burden of the majority who will not be earning it.
Exactly.
And are in employment too.
Exactly.
And let's talk about, when I say social safety valves now, I want to be specific. Access to credit. Oh, Mr. Olade touched on it. I need a car. The car functional now, not that the car I want, the car I need, because some just want, some actually need. So the car I need to serve my purpose goes for 3.5 million. I earn how many civil servants? And I say civil servants, mainstream civil service now, and 200,000. So where will he get 3.5 million?
I think the president did mention it, and is included in his lineup of programs. But it's not something that is going to be done overnight. It requires legal framework. It requires feasibility studies. The financial institutions will have to subscribe to it,
yes.
Because they are the ones that would actually, that the implementation will rest upon.
I noticed, I want to put something in there. I noticed that in Oyo State in the past 4 years, there is a relaxed access to credit by those who work in, secure, to say, environments. Secure as in salaries will be paid as are when due, and there will be no accumulation.
The financial institutions are in business.
Yes, certainly.
And of course, they are how to make profit gains. And two things are involved, actually. Number one, there is this irregularity in the payment of salary on the part of the government.
Okay.
We have situations where salaries are being held. And when these things are programmed monthly, there are fractions that should be deducted from the loan. And when that is not coming forth, the loan becomes, the interest rate accumulates and it's become bad debts
to the bank.
To the banks. So banks now decided to be looking away from lending to fintech. So they make more money, more gains from fintech now than lending. And that's why you see them de-emphasizing lending and focusing on fintech. So all the technologies that they've made available, once you use the mobile app, they are making money through you. Even if you use the USSD, they are making money through you.
That's not the core of their service delivery. And there are regulations to that effect.
There are regulations, but there are no restrictions.
Yes. Now, your core business is this, and so percentage of your lending should go in so direction.
This is not, when you talk about lending, you're talking about the CRR, which they would look side by side the monetary policy given to them by the CBN. Now, we are talking about, that affects their capital base. That's what will be at stake, that will determine their lending rate. But this one has nothing to do with the capital base. It's more about the service provided.
Yeah, service.
So they are getting paid for the services they are rendering. And that amount is now what determine most of their bulk of their profits is being determined by that. The ATM services that are all over, there are so many unbanked communities which make the...
Even in Oyo State, I heard there are about 5 or 7 local governments without a single bank.
So, and there are transactions that takes place in all these areas.
Oh, certainly.
So, those ones would pay for those services before they can enjoy it. Now, the money they pay across board, they use the ATM, they use the POS, the card has a charge. Once you use it on the POS, you are charged for stamp duty. And stamp duty doesn't go 100% to the government. There's a percentage that the bank retains. You do wireless transfer, you are charged, once it's above a certain amount, you will be charged electronic transfer levy, which is at a particular ratio as well. That is another thing. When you receive credit into your account, if it's above a particular band, you will have to pay electronic transfer levy. So all these things combined, plus the usage of the mobile app, from the charges that you get from USSD transaction, all these things are what form the bulk
of what the banks do now.
Of what the banks
let us go to
are enjoying now in terms of profits.
The economy. It is a global phenomenon now that it is not those big, huge industries that actually employ the largest number of people. It is the small and medium-scale enterprises. And I think it was in respect of that that the president talked about access to credit. How, and I want to lump this up with the issue of communication. Effective communication. If government wants to do something, no matter how good our intentions, if it is not effectively, actually communication is a two-way thing. You are saying it, I am understanding you. That is when you are communicating. If you are saying something and I do not understand you, you are not, or I am not communicating. So, all these things have been said. Do you think there has been effective communication, especially, and what shall we be looking forward to, especially in the area of small and medium-scale enterprises, because it is key growing the economy at the rate which the president says he wants to grow it. That is Dangote Refinery now. How many years, how many billions, and how many jobs, directly and indirectly, than small and medium-scale enterprises springing up in small corners. One man gave me a pamphlet yesterday, 300, that Nigeria is sitting on 300 million jobs on tap. That is more than our population.
For that, the past administration put a lot of effort to promoting the MSMEs. They reduced the bottleneck involved.
The monetary arm that was promoting this thing, which was wrong in the first place, because the physical arm went to sleep. What was business of central bank in Anko Bora's one?
No, it's their business actually, because it's government money. It's not private money. So they are the one that will do the disbursements alongside the Ministry of Finance. And don't forget, it's a special program that the Office of the Vice President anchored for a long time before it was transferred to the Humanitarian Affairs and whatever. Now, the thing is, what worked against it was infrastructural deficit that we have. You cannot promote, the best way to promote MSMEs is by fixing power. Power is what they rest upon. It was what the MSME will rest upon. When you have epileptic supply, you give money to people to do business, majority of whom will rely on power supply, and you expect them to go be buying fuel that you are removing subsidy from, and you expect them not to go out of business. It's going to be very difficult. So that is why...
It is going to be very difficult.
That is why...
That's a major challenge.
That is why, despite the funding that was made available there was no return on investment because majority of these people actually struggled to survive.
That's a very serious sore point that you have noted there. And we're told that the issue of power in Nigeria is not about generation. It is about Nigeria's willing capacity. Dangote will be generating 12,000 megawatts. But the willing capacity of TCN, Transmission Commission or whatever of Nigeria, is below 6,000.
It will be below because I was going to say the major problem with the power sector is structural. Yes, there's a development. Toward the twilight of the past administration,
yeah, but
it was moved from exclusive to concurrent. Yeah. That is a welcome development. You cannot power a country
with diesel
of 220 million population using a single grid. That is absurd.
And what do they call it? A direct radial.
It is absurd. That is a Belgian model. And the last time I checked, the Belgian population is around 30 million. How can you now use a 30 million population model to power a 200 million population? That is absurd.
The day a GM of then NEPA told me about the model, he calls it a linear transmission. He said if you are transmitting power from Jeba to Ilorin and something happens in between, power will no longer go to Ilorin.
It won't go beyond the spots. It's going to terminate at that point where the fault develops. And that is even if they are able to trace it on time. And that's why we have epilepsy all over to power supply. So the power sector is in need of structural...
With the movement from exclusive to the situation in which other players can come in. Of course, grids, localized grids and distribution networks will have to do.
That is where the governors comes in. Now, I expect the Southwest governors to begin to negotiate with Dangote that your 12,000 megawatts will be distributing it in Southwest. We'll create a structure and framework for you, both legal and the structural framework.
If Lagos is going to go full blast, will it be enough for Lagos alone?
It will be enough. We're talking about 12,000 here.
Yeah.
Lagos cannot use more than, I think, 4,000 out of it.
You have to factor growth into it.
Yes, you keep reserve for the industry too. What the industry would need and both the private sector. And we can't even use just one model. Dangote is going to be using the gas model.
Looking forward to
the household can be powered using solar. And we have so many solar, we just need to maybe expand that net to make it affordable to people. So that the more people that goes off the grid, the more pressure, the lesser the pressure that will be on that grid and the more reliable it will become. We can have a grid as a backup, but we can't be using it as the sole
linear grid
transmission purpose.
I will lump power and it is power too. I will lump power and NNPC together. When, with this trajectory that I'm looking at, subsidy is removed. NNPC is a limited liability company. The man that has courage to remove subsidy, is he likely to ask, yes, this is a limited liability company. Why don't you go with the model of the liquefied natural gas? That model, Nigeria has 49%, other investors have 51%. Why don't you go that model or put the NNPC Limited on the stock market? If we are actually after the Aramco model.
That is in the PIA.
It takes courage to pull it off.
It is in the PIA, it will.
It takes courage. Now, when that happens, NNPC has many subsidiaries. I will just pull out one. It used to be called Pipelines and Product
PPMC.
PPMC. it is now depot and product and something. I ask myself, so you are a subsidiary dealing in depot, pipelines and products. Where are the depots? Is it Mosimi? Is it Ibadan? Is it Ejigbo? That is functional. And NNPC staff are there. Doing what? That is for depot. Where are the products? Is it the products that you keep in tank farms of individuals? And where are the pipelines? So, what is that subsidiary doing? Is that sustainable? That just one. Is NNPC Limited, many of the subsidiaries, are they likely to go the way of NITEL?
NFCC is a company now.
Is it operated as such?
All what we call subsidiary are now assets belonging to the companies, including Port Harcourt when it comes up, as in the refineries. So, the last money that was spent is supposed to be the last that the government would be injecting in that.
Which, what do you mean?
For the turnaround of the Port Harcourt refinery. Now, they have other assets. There's a Kaduna is there, nobody's talking about
it. No. It is a security issue. That's why they are not fixing Kaduna yet. Kaduna is on the list.
Kaduna can still be useful. Oil exploration has begun.
In the northern parts.
In Bauchi State.
Yeah.
And of course, Nasarawa of late. Yeah. Exploration has begun in Bauchi, but not yet in Nasarawa. Now, these are two areas that are not too far from Kaduna. You can disconnect the pipeline from the south and create a new one. Those pipelines are obsolete. They are not in line with the current trend of things. And that's why they are subject to easy vandalization. Now, vandalization is the main issue why PPMC are to be grounded. Because the moment they are pumping, somehow, probably staff that they've laid off, or people who had little knowledge of how this pipeline transportation works, have vandalized most of this pipeline. And you find a situation where there was even a time that a filling station was erected on a pipeline, and the person was dispensing directly from the pipeline before the man was caught and is no longer alive. You understand? But if the activities of some criminal elements also need to be checked. So NNPC, being a private company, is a welcome development. What the governments need to do is to put it up on stock exchange, decide the percentage of equity they are willing to give to the private sector. That should be on the majority. And let the private sector now constitute the board of management. That will take the likes of Mele Kyari that represent the cabal off the track. They could still be players.
Cabal of government.
Well, whatever. Because he has been part and parcel of the system. So when I say cabal, I understand what I'm saying. Okay. You know, it was when he came up that we have stability at the leadership.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes. When Kashuku was there, he was already kicked out. Baru was put there.
He was promoted.
He was also... What kind of promotion is that?
To a minister.
To a minister without portfolio, without any powers to sign any contract. That contracts were being bypassed. It was being bypassed. He had to. It is the cabinet that will get the information of some activities that is being done by a corporation is supervising. So these are things. That's not promotion. It's actually relegation.
We expect with this step of removal of subsidy, we will ordinarily expect further steps in considering the fact that this man, the president, is from that sector and he has a finance background. And when what people talk about is antecedents in Lagos.
Yes. And that is why...
Do you expect sanitization, as it were, of the opaque oil and gas operations?
The way and manner he has been able to handle the subsidy removal should give us that kind of hope that he would handle that sector well. You know, already the economic saboteurs within that sector were about to move into action, taking advantage of his statement on Monday. What was the reason for the queues? There has not been any official announcement of the hike in price. But the saboteurs were already locking up their stations. Another group were already going to the source of cheap products with jerry cans to start selling black markets. And as at Monday evening, petrol was being sold as in a Boeing for 1,200 per litre.
I think in about
1,000 in Port Harcourt, 600 in Oyo State. You understand? So when he called for the meeting, NNPC had already prepared the templates and the marketers are all aware. So when NNPC CEO presented the template, okay, you have this on ground, go and implement it.
Right away. He undercut them.
So the moment that price was announced and its changes at the NNPC station, which was the source of the cheap
on the
petrol,
dot of 11, I was told.
You understand? People were still there, outside. And when they changed the price, they now opened their gates. If you want to buy, come inside. They began to turn their vehicles back to their houses. Because a majority of those who were there were not buying what they
for
need.
use.
They wanted to stockpile and sell in black markets. So the black market was cut off automatically. And whatever we have now is a better situation than what we would have had if that has not been done.
Before we wrap this up, I will ask we wrap it up. Corruption will certainly fight back.
Corruption, I like
in
one
just
thing
a minute or thereabout.
Yeah, the approach this president is planning to use, corruption may not bother to fight back.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's going to lose its capacity to even fight. Because that is what the credit system is going to be leveraged upon. Why are people corrupt? That's the question. You tackle the problem from
exactly rather than treating the symptom.
Yes, and that is the approach he's bringing up.
Yeah,
which is a problem if he's able to achieve it, and that's why the politics of the 10th Assembly is so intense. He wants to put people that would pass his proposals, give legal framework to his policies that is innovating. And if he doesn't have a friendly assembly to do that,
we'll have another
we have problem because it's going to be an assembly with significant opposition having serious influence. So he's
been there too, so he understands.
This is the first time we'll be having the president, the vice president, the first lady, the chief of staff, and the secretary, all of them National Assembly alumni.
All right.
So we are going to be having a robust relationship, which will translate to quality governance, I hope. And of course, when we have quality governance, Nigerians will be
well. High hopes you are expressing there. The first few steps that the government has taken, we do hope there will be follow-ups, and it will translate. Of course, there will be pains before gains, and sacrifices have to be made. Well. It's a wrap on Political Update this Monday afternoon, the 5th of June on Solutions 93.9 FM. It's been a conversation this afternoon with Mr. Badejiko Adesumbo. Thank you so much for joining us again today, for your incisive and illuminating analysis. And to Mr. Olade David, thank you for joining us for your own contribution too. Well. It's been Ayodeji Ajishokwe presenting. God bless you all. God bless our union. Bye for now.
Now midnight today, so you did receive one important call. Now so you just hear.
You have 1 minute remaining.
Sharp, you don't begin check your wallet. But to cash no come deal. How e for be if you go fit to recharge without cash and them still sama you bonus on top your recharge anytime? Your credit don't nearly finish? No wahala. Just download my MTN NG app to recharge your MTN line. I be make you dial *904# to buy airtime straight from your bank account to Fiam any day, anytime, and enjoy 15% awoof bonus on top any amount where you recharge. Now so e be very easy. MTN, wetin we dey do today? Now midnight today, so you dey receive one important call. Now so you just hear.
You have.
We break down the facts of news, delivering the latest information, playing the coolest of music, giving you the best of entertainment.
Yo, what's up?
This is not a 3.9 FM. We are the solutions.
Come on.
We are the remedy.
Your number one remedy dial.
Yeah.
Can you feel me too? Don't know why, but I keep missing you. All the time I wanna be with you. Girl, I'm trying to figure what I mean to you. She said this feeling is more than love. But you want a lot of love. You know, baby, my love. You know, baby, my love.
Living at the highness, make me look the finest to you. Keep up with the finesse, I go with the laugh past too. Living at the highness, make me look the finest to you. Keep up with the finesse, I go with the laugh past too.
Don't listen to me, girl, I'm drunk. I'm only in love with my song. So when I wake up in the morning, don't say what I win now, I'm sorry. Don't listen to me, girl, I'm drunk. I'm only in love with my songs.